The human envoy moved silently through the prismatic corridors of the interstellar assembly hub. Lena Morrows had walked these halls for 6 years. 6 years of polite smiles, careful words, and quiet humiliation. Alien delegates drifted past her in shimmering clusters. Armored giants, floating intelligences, beings that only resembled life as humans understood it. None slowed for her. None cared. She stopped before the chamber gates, towering slabs of color-shifting alloy guarded by Varric sentinels, insectoid titans encased in ceremonial armor. Their faceted eyes tracked her movements. "Ambassador Morrows," one announced. "The Assembly is prepared to receive you." She inclined her head and stepped through. The chamber beyond was vast beyond reason. Rings of seating spiraled upward, filled with delegates from more than 200 civilizations. This was where species pleaded for survival, where empires justified conquest, where justice bowed to power. At the center stood a solitary dais. Lena stepped onto it, feeling hundreds of eyes settle on her, some bored, some amused, some openly irritated. "Human representative," said Arbiter Kale, his scaled avian form leaning forward. "You have requested yet another audience. What does Earth demand now?" Lena steadied her breath. "I am here to report escalating atrocities against human civilians. The Velith Dominion has been attacking our trade vessels. Our citizens are being taken into bondage. 3 days ago, a civilian transport carrying 300 families was destroyed." A ripple passed through the chamber, not outrage, but annoyance. "This again," Kale muttered, glancing at his slate. "Humanity protests Velith actions. The pattern grows tiresome." "They are slaughtering innocents," Lena said, her voice tight. "The galaxy is unforgiving." Another arbiter replied calmly. "Emerging species must learn to endure." Then came the verdict. The Assembly would not intervene. Instead, they would allow the Velith to claim Earth under protective stewardship. "Safeguarded," Kale corrected when Lena called it enslavement. "You will accept within 30 cycles." "And if we refuse," she asked, Kale smiled thinly, "then you will learn the cost of defiance." The session ended. Lena left the chamber with her spine straight and her heart in ruins. 6 years of diplomacy erased in minutes. She reached the communications wing and transmitted a single message to Earth. Assembly ruling finalized. Velith mandate issued. Authorize contingency Directive 7. 5 minutes later, the message reached the Planetary Security Council. Fleet Marshal Elias Crow read it 3 times, then walked to a sealed console untouched for half a decade. He entered the authorization code without a word. Across Earth, the planet stirred. Factories disguised as civilian centers revealed hidden war lines. Agricultural complexes peeled back to expose buried arsenals. Lunar and Martian convoys quietly changed their cargo manifests. Humanity had smiled, negotiated, complied, and prepared. Lion Park did not know this yet. She only knew the galaxy had condemned her species. From her quarters aboard the station, she drafted another transmission, this one public. "To all who hear this broadcast, in 36 hours, the Velith Dominion will attempt to subjugate humanity. This act has been sanctioned by the Galactic Assembly. We sought justice. We were denied. Therefore, humanity will now act on its own behalf. To those who stood with us, we offer gratitude. To those who watched in silence, forgiveness. To those who harmed us, we are coming, cross the stars, most dismissed it." Among them was Supreme Commander Verk Thal of the Velith Dominion. He laughed openly aboard his flagship, a city-sized warship bristling with weapons. "Prepare a reply," he ordered. "Tell the humans their hiding ends in 24 hours. When the human response arrived, it was not fear. A woman appeared on the screen, no longer a diplomat. "I am Admiral Lion Park," she said evenly. "You have 48 hours to withdraw your fleet, release our people, and compensate for their deaths. When that time expires, we will be at war." Laughter erupted. "What could you possibly do?" Verk sneered. "You've had the stars for 50 years. Lion glanced at a timer beside her display. 47 hours, she said. "Then you'll know." The Velith fleet advanced early. They never reached Earth unopposed. Human merchant vessels struck first, not to win, but to bleed. Freighters revealed hidden weapons. Civilian crews fought with lethal precision. sacrificing ships to gather data. Velith formations began to unravel under tactics no simulation had predicted. By the time the enemy reached the Sol system, their confidence was cracking. Deep beneath Earth, Admiral Lin Zhao watched the battle unfold. "Activate the Atlas spires," she ordered. Hidden within the asteroid belt, colossal weapons platforms rotated silently. They fired not at where the enemy was, but where they would be. Beams tore through space with impossible precision, collapsing shields, shattering hulls, erasing warships before commanders understood what struck them. Panic spread. Then came the final lesson. Human ships closed in, not to trade fire, but to end the war. Refitted cargo vessels, packed with antimatter, accelerated straight toward Velith capital ships. One transmission cut through the chaos. "This is Lieutenant Mira Lawson," a young woman said calmly from a burning cockpit, "requesting authorization to impact the enemy flagship." Authorization was granted. Her final words echoed across open channels. For Earth. The explosion erased the flagship and everything near it. Again and again, human ships made the same choice, not out of desperation, but resolve. They did not retreat. They did not beg. They ended the threat. Within hours, the Velith invasion fleet was annihilated. The galaxy reeled. Human forces did not stop. Operation Iron Retribution began. Prison worlds were liberated. Chains were broken. Empires that had stood for millennia collapsed in weeks. When the Galactic Concord attempted to intervene, humanity delivered an ultimatum: reform, or be dismantled. They refused. So humanity arrived. 6 months later, Admiral Lin Zhao stood in the shattered remains of the Concord chamber. The old seats of power lay in ruins. Delegates entered cautiously, former tyrants, freed species, long-silenced voices. "This assembly failed," Zhao said calmly. "It protected the powerful and abandoned the innocent." She outlined new laws: no enslavement, no conquest, representation for all. Humanity would not rule, but it would enforce. When asked what would stop humans from becoming the next tyrants, Zhao answered without hesitation: "We will never hold permanent authority. If we ever abandon this duty, another species will rise to replace us." The unified Galactic Assembly was born. Slavery vanished from civilized space within a year. War criminals were tried. Trade routes were protected. For the first time in galactic history, the weak were no longer prey. 18 months later, Zhao stood in a memorial garden on Earth. Thousands of names were etched into black stone, human and alien alike. A report arrived. A new empire was rising, another dominion enslaving the defenseless. Zhao looked to the stars. "Prepare the fleet," she said softly. Humanity did not seek war. But when peace was no longer an option, they became something far more terrifying. They became the storm that erased empires. "If you want, I can now."